much for being here. Really appreciate, so good morning to all of you, and actually happy second day of the Senior Lifestyle Expo. Today's the second day, and I thought the first day went so well, obviously minus the one presentation, but there was so much information. The booths are really awesome. There's just so many resources that people can connect to and learn more about. It's just, I think it's so cool that the first day just had just so much rich information, and today will not disappoint either. There's so many things to still look at and see and participate in, and just really happy that you guys are all here today. So for those that don't know me, I'm Courtney Hederman. I'm the Associate State Director for AARP Illinois. I sit in the Chicago office. We have two offices in Illinois, one in Chicago, one in Springfield. Although we haven't been in those offices, you see me, kind of see my background here. I'm still working from home. And just, again, so happy that you guys are here. We have a really wonderful presentation, really more about, a little bit of a breadth about what AARP is sometimes. And if you are a member, you might have come in because you liked, something that you saw in an advertisement. You might have wanted to participate in in an insurance product or some sort of product or service that we offer. You might have come in because you heard about a magazine or a discount. And so however you came in, just welcome. We're happy that you're a member. For those that maybe are not members, this might be an opportunity for you to see more of what we offer. And you might want to become a member later on. But we do have a very rich, I think, not only as an organization do we have a lot of information, we certainly want to be a fierce defender and a wise friend. So we kind of incorporate very much advocacy related things as well as community outreach and programming type of things. But this will give you a good sense of really all of the things that AARP can offer you and perhaps members of your family or loved ones. So I really am really pleased to share that we have a trio, if you will, a trifecta of phenomenal AARP Illinois volunteers. And that is Paula Bull, John Strauss, and Amy Boatman. And I'm going to turn it over to them because they can say all of it way better than I can, to be honest. They are pros. They are the best of the best. And I know that I think I can say for them that they're really happy to be here as well and to be talking with all of you. And perhaps you might want to join us even as an AARP volunteer sometime. So we'd be happy to have you and work with you in perhaps the future. So anyway, I will they're going to each individually introduce themselves so they can give you a good breath of themselves. But just again, happy that you guys are here. I'm here for the whole presentation and looking forward to our discussion and any questions too you might have. So thanks so much. And I'll send it over to Paula Bull.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paula Bull, and I have been volunteering for AARP with the Illinois chapter for about 3 years now. I started out because I love advocacy, and I am also on the executive board, and I help with event planning, which has been a new challenge with COVID. But one of the reasons I joined was I wanted to expand my social circle. And I think, as I retired and found myself a little isolated, this was a great way to do it. So I'm glad you're all here. Welcome. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that you're probably on mute. If you want to speak, we're going to do a short quiz here in a minute. Take yourself off mute by pressing the little mute button in the left-hand side of your screen, is where it is on mine. And there is a chat box. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen. And if you have a question, we're kind of going to hold questions till the end, but we will have time. Go ahead and type your question in that chat box. But do remember that it's going to everybody. So, if you want to say that, boy, that Paula Bull really is a talker, you might want to not send that to everybody. Okay. So, all right. So I think with that, we're going to get ready and we'll get started.
Darn it. Can we meet John and Amy real quick?
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot you two were here. John, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Also, let me add my welcome to our program today. I am a volunteer now for about 2 years. I got into this because I met the Chicago office director who asked what I was doing in my retirement. And when I told her I was volunteering, she asked me if I would volunteer with AARP. And my response was, I'd love to, but you got to give me something to do other than stuffing envelopes. And the result has been a wonderful volunteer experience for me that I'll talk about a little bit later in the program. Now I'll turn it over, let's see, to Amy. You're up.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm here in Chicago, and I don't remember exactly how many years I've been with AARP volunteering, 6 or 8 or 10, I'm not sure. But my introduction to AARP was when I hit the golden age of 50, I joined. And then I looked into what AARP did, and I've always enjoyed volunteer opportunities. So that's how I got involved with AARP, was through volunteering, and now I'm doing a couple of different things, which I'll get into later. But I think it's a great organization. It's amazing, all the things that we're involved in, and we're glad you're here, and hope you listen and ask any questions that you have, because we're here to answer. So welcome.
And then also last, right before Paula, you begin, also want to make sure that Ellen Acevedo will introduce herself as well.
I'm on mute. So I'm working the background here, so that's why I've taken myself off camera today. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And I'm so happy that we have our fantastic volunteers that are doing our work for us, shall we say. So thank you for joining us, and I look forward to a great little bit of an hour here.
All right, everybody. So we're going to do just 9 short questions here about what do you know about AARP? And we will get started. Ellen will take us there. And what I'd like you to do is, if you think you know the answer, take yourself off mute and see. And we'll just have a little conversation surrounding that.
And you needn't worry too great. This will not be on the final exam.
Exactly. Yes. So you will not be tested. And if you have a wrong answer, I've taken this quiz several times. I never get it all right. So how many members did AARP have on its 60th anniversary? Do we think it was 13 million, 38 million, 57 million, or 62 million? Anybody out there want to take a guess?
57?
57?
Yeah, 57 million.
Okay, we
No.
actually have 38
Okay.
million, and we're the largest paid membership organization in the world, which we'll talk about later. So, okay, so what percentage of AARP members said in 2018 that they always vote in a presidential election? Do you think it was 68.2%, 71.5%, 80.7%, or 84.3%? Anybody want to take a gander? No wrong answers, just a learning opportunity.
I'm guessing 80.7.
You're going to say 80.7? Okay, let's check. It's actually 84.3, which that compares to 66.8% of the rest of the adult population. And I remember my first training session at AARP that, you know, I always have friends who want to do a protest, who want to march and do things like that to advocate. And what I learned at that training session in a nutshell is that we as an organization get notice from legislators because we have critical mass, because we as members vote, and that votes, when you call your legislature or email them or mail them, the first thing the staff do is look and see if you voted in the recent election. And that because we have such a high percentage of votes of people that vote in our organization, it gives us a credibility. So,
Wow.
okay. And the next one, how many people have participated in the AARP driver safety program as of 2018? Do we think it's 7 million, 10 million, 17 million, or 23 million? Take a wild guess. Edward, put you on the spot.
Actually, that's not a problem. I don't know the answer, but I remember, I think back when you first started, I tried to participate, signed up. I think there was a small fee or whatever, but I never did get a chance to get in. So now, after with that background, I really don't know what the answer would be.
Oh, that's all right. You don't have to know. Let's guess 10 million. Oops, nope, it's 17 million. AARP driver safety programs. I plan to take it when I turn 75 in a few short years, really less than two years. But anyway, and because I think it's going to help because you have to drive and somebody's going to watch you, you know. So it's helped people pass their exams. Okay, next one. How many studies had AARP researchers published in the 20 years before our 60th anniversary? Do we think it's 546, 765, 959, or 1,113? Anybody want to take a guess?
765.
765. Let's see if that's right. Ellen? Ellen, 765, we're saying. It's actually 1,113. We research issues such as Social Security, housing, transportation, long-term care. I know in Illinois, we've done a lot with disparities and some of the issues that we may not do formal research around though, but we look at our utilities and different things like that. So we do a lot of research. So by the end of 2018, more than 400,000 members had done this through AARP. Seen a free movie, gone on vacation, received free groceries, or have won a car. Like you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. What do you think it is?
I'm voting for all of the above.
Okay, well, let's pick one. Let's do the first one. We got that one right. So we have free screenings of movies for grown-ups. Before COVID, we used to go in person, and now we have them on Zoom. Thank God for Zoom, right? And it spurs conversation and socialization. Okay, AARP opened our first state office in 1987. Does anybody know what state it was in? Was it Maryland, New York, Virginia, or Pennsylvania? And I always get this one wrong.
I guess Virginia.
It's Pennsylvania, and we have offices in all 50 states, DC, and our Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. So we're really for Americans around the globe. All right, this president invited AARP's 2 millionth member to the White House. Was it JFK, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, or Gerald Ford? I thought it was Gerald Ford, but let's see. Nope, it was Richard Nixon. So in 1966, we hit 1 million, and in 1970, 2 million members. And I looked around just trying to see who that was, but I couldn't find it. I didn't have a lot of time for the research, but I did try to find the name of that person. So this is the year AARP launched the Fraud Watch Network. Was it 2010, 11, 12, or 13? Anybody? Bueller?
2010.
10? Okay, let's see. I thought that too. But it's actually 2013. But if you are AARP members and you get their magazines, there's always and you know, if you have a cell phone, there's always a scam out there. And I think AARP does an excellent job keeping us informed about the latest scams. Okay, what year did AARP launch its first plan to supplement benefits? Was it Medicare benefits? Was it 1966? 1969, 1971, 1974.
69.
69, that's what I thought too. It was actually 1966. We pioneered group health insurance 7 years before Medicare was created in 1965. So we've been offering this for a long time. Okay, I think that's the last one, isn't it? Okay, if you have any questions, remember to type them in the chat. And I've got just a couple more slides before I hand it over to somebody else. So this is our 60-year anniversary. And I would be remiss if we didn't talk about just a short history on our founder. But we're the largest nonprofit, nonpartisan group that help people live well as we age. And as I mentioned before, we are worldwide, and we have a mission to help elderly people and their family live with the best security, financial stability, which I know is so important to us, particularly in these times, and personal fulfillment. And our founder was Dr. Ethel Percy Andrus, and her story appealed to me because I was a visiting nurse for many, many years. And I remember visiting people who had, dirt floors, who still had no running water in their homes. And Dr. Andrus was a retired teacher that founded the California Retired Teachers Association. And she was volunteering with them. And she had a local grocer call her up and say that he knew there was somebody, a retired teacher, who was really struggling, and he wanted her to check in on it. So he gave her an address. She went to the address, nice little bungalow, nobody home. She got back in her car and she thought, wait a minute. So she knocked on the door next door, and they told her there was a lady living out back. So she went around back, and this lady this was in the 1950s, was a retired teacher who was living in a windowless chicken coop, and she was sustaining herself on $40 a month because she had lost all of her savings during the Depression. So this spurred Dr. Andrus to get busy and get to work. So she turned issues to all of us, and she founded AARP at the age of 72 at her kitchen table. And she was always a volunteer, and we are primarily a volunteer organization. So here is our mission. And I think I've kind of woven it through what I've said, but we want to empower everybody to be able to choose how we live as we age. That includes those of us who have just newly become AARP age in your early 50s, and those of us who are in our old elderly years who may be in nursing homes. We want to help everybody live with dignity and fulfill our hopes and dreams, our goals. And so we have collective purpose, voice, and purchasing power. And those are some of the advantages. And with that, I am going to turn it over to John. Thank you all.
Thank you, Paula. Obviously, or not obviously, when we talk about being advocates, we must be very clear that we are nonpartisan in our advocacy. And let me explain to you what that means for us actually in practice. Next slide. Next slide, Ellen. There we go. Go back, next slide. Here, thank you. Obviously, nonpartisanship, we don't back candidates. We don't pick winners and losers. We don't give to political campaigns. But what we do is have a strong advocacy program across all political lines. And I can tell you from my own personal experience working in Illinois state government, you don't accomplish very much if you aren't able to work on both sides of the political aisle. And so we do that, and we do that by providing information, reliable information, we believe, about the interests of our membership. And so that can take place in a lot of different ways. Next slide. If you've ever been involved in organizational dynamics, I'm sure you've seen slides like this, which suggest that all the cogs in the wheel turn smoothly and together. And I'd like to believe that's true, but it doesn't always happen that way. But for AARP, it's always a blending mix of information that we provide to our advocates, and it gives us an opportunity to engage our community, and that can come in a lot of different ways. Next slide. We have three major institutions that carry on our work, and it's obviously how they broke up. The foundation, as you can see, works across issues of economics, housing, hunger, and income and isolation. Our next group is the advocacy side, and then our AARP services, which is where many of us have knowledge of AARP. If it's not an insurance program or a rental car or a vacation or some such thing. That's a big part of what membership and participation at AARP can do for you. The next slide, please. Here in Illinois, to give you an idea how the advocacy takes shape, I'll talk about 5 things that Illinois advocated for to the Illinois General Assembly this season, and it was successful in having get them implemented. First, in the area of caregiving, we devote a lot of attention to the plight of people in nursing homes, both the residents as well as their families, and we advocated for a number of programs, one of which provided for and guaranteed virtual communications between nursing home residents and their families electronically. That had been hit and miss in the past, but given the pandemic experience, we decided and advocated for this program. Financial security, our mission was in instituting a program called Secure Choice. And Secure Choice gave people who were working at companies that did not offer a 401k the opportunity to set up a 401k independently and in fact require those businesses who are employing you to have a net mechanism available for that. Paula talked on a great deal about our consumer protection, and we've all seen it. As you read the magazine, there's obviously always a section that talks about how to avoid this scam and that. Healthcare has always been a big part of our advocacy program, and COVID and the pandemic gave us a great opportunity to talk about the needs of the elderly and how the healthcare system was not serving them as well as it could have been. And finally, the fifth part of this program this year had to do with utility rate setting, and we were certainly advocating for those on the consumer side, and to some extent. If there's an umbrella that overshades this whole thing, it is the notion of disrupting disparities, which is sort of a broader idea of what we found through a number of studies, one here done in Illinois, that show in different types of communities, there's simply disparities between caregiving and financial security and consumer protection and healthcare and utilities. And so we want to break those things up and try to reverse the disparities that have been existing. And so that's what it can be about when you are an advocate. It's representing and educating people in government, particularly of these needs and of the point of view. But I will say there are many other ways, if you are not a political person or at least apolitical, that you can participate in this program. And I'm going to turn it over to Amy now to give you some more information about other ways you can be a participant.
Hello, everybody. I guess I'll start off with just talking about some of the volunteer things I've done, not to talk about myself, but just to give you an idea of the broad variety of volunteer opportunities that there are. I've done a bunch of different things. Worked with Feeding America. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they've done a lot for feeding the homeless. We did a thing where we assembled bags of dried beans and things to make soup for people. I worked at a bookstore that was sold donated books, and that funded a neighborhood organization that was underserved. Worked at a blind services place where we just assisted people who were visually impaired, whether it was helping them pay their bills, shopping, doing things online, recording books for them, etc. Working in advocacy, like John has mentioned, and it's not always political. I just wanted to mention that. For instance, there was a tax initiative in Illinois called Fair Tax and Graduated Income Tax. AARP supported that, not from a political viewpoint, but for what's best for people viewpoint. And there was a lot of advocacy work done around that, not necessarily working with legislators, but sending cards or making phone calls, things like that. Let me see if I want to add any more to that. And then there are AARP events that you can volunteer for as well. Here in Chicago, we have at a nature museum, the city has a once a year volunteer solicitation, and we have a booth there. So that's another thing to do. The Affordable Care Act was recently, there was a deadline we're working toward. AARP reached out to people to make sure that they knew about the deadline and answered any questions they had. So there's really a broad variety. And I have to say, what we do is fun. It really, really is. You meet people, you feel your sense of purpose. It is a fantastic opportunity. And it always, AARP does a great job of asking us what our skill sets or our interest areas are and helping develop those and train those. We're never out of our comfort zone, anything else. But I want to reiterate, especially since the environment is so difficult as it comes to polarization these days, it's very important that we keep our personal views completely out of what we're doing. I know that's common sense, but I just want to stress it because these times are so tense, and that's an expectation that AARP has, and of course we understand that and we honor that. Okay, and these are, I kind of touched on some of those things a little bit before. And keeping informed can really be a challenge because there's so much going on. But AARP does a great job of keeping us informed and in the loop when when we volunteer and when we're involved. They're very, very good at feeding us the most current information and that sort of thing. There's plenty of opportunity to grow and expand with the organization. There's a lot of encouragement to improve our skills or develop other skills that we have. Let me see, what else should I say? We have some really fun events that we do as well. Those of us on this call, John, Paul, and me, there's some others, we're in a volunteer planning group, and we plan activities for the volunteers, part of the fun aspect. One of the things we're doing right now is bingo, and it's very, very popular. We do it monthly. And it's always a lot of fun, and we seem to get more people each time we do it. We're working on some other things as well. Of course, we want to get together live, but we know how that keeps shifting. So there's plenty to do. I just find it very rewarding, very fulfilling. That's kind of what I have to say about it, I think. Did I leave anything out, John or Paula?
Just a couple more things you wanted to mention, the award program.
Yes. Yeah, that's the next slide, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that just an indication of the kinds of things it's that there is reward for this volunteership. And I know we aren't always in it for that, but to reiterate what Amy was saying, there's just no question that it's an organization of you serving volunteers. I've never encountered one that's better. The organization, top to bottom, the information they provide, the encouragement, and the opportunities to do meaningful things is probably the greatest quality of AARP's volunteers. So
Yeah.
does anybody out there have any particular questions?
Can we go back to that a little bit more, because I wanted to say on the Andrus Award, if you have a person that you want to recommend, please do so. And they don't necessarily need to be an AARP volunteer at this point. And the second bullet on here is about a service project that we do virtually. And it's where you make cards for veterans and send them. And it's a wonderful, easy, rewarding, fulfilling thing to do. We have all kinds of instructions and everything you need to know. It's not at all complicated. It's just using basic supplies that you have at home, paper, scissors, glue, and it's a great thing. So the links are here, but we'll provide you the information if you don't have the computer access as well. Okay, and where to go for volunteer resources? There's Facebook, and there's also the meetings that we have. Right now, the quickest and easiest and most regular one to do is the Monday advocacy calls, and those are just phenomenal. We have a great staff on AARP that supports us. So there's plenty of manpower to go around to support what it is we're trying to do. But we learn a lot, we do a lot. We focus on what the current issues are, what AARP's position is on it, and what it is that volunteers can do and do to support that. And then we report the results, which are pretty great. John or Paula, anything you want to add to that about advocacy or anything else?
The only thing I would mention, because it invariably comes up as a question, is what does it cost to be a volunteer? And the short answer is nothing. You do not have to necessarily be a member of AARP to be a volunteer at AAR services, and I think that's important. Obviously, they love for all of us to be members because that supports an organization that we're all deeply invested in. And I would encourage you to look into it. It's a great way to volunteer your time. And believe me, they'll find what your expertise is and find a place for you to use it as a volunteer.
And there's no minimum commitment. You can volunteer when you have time on the things that interest you. And if they ask you to do something and you say no, I have never been made to feel like, oh, I didn't do enough or something like that. They're very, very appreciative of their volunteers. Any questions?
Well, this is Courtney again, and I just want to just say thank you so much to the three of you. Obviously, you see Ellen's information on this screen as well as myself. So if you do have questions, I think I saw Liz take herself off mute. So feel free to ask a question.
I was just interested on the one slide on the service from home, sending cards, things like that. Yeah, that one. It's got a website there or a link. Is that showing someplace else as well? Because I think Ellen brought up a little note that for the Andrus Award, there was, a link to if you wanted to nominate someone for that. Can that information?
Yeah, Liz, this is a tricky one. It's not posted on our website.
Oh, okay.
But if you could send me an email, I can get you that link, or
Okay.
I'm trying to copy it. Let me see. I'm struggling with my little technology today. I couldn't copy and put it in the chat box. That's what I was trying to do before when the
Okay,
slides
yeah.
are moving around.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not letting me.
what I
So
thought.
if you could send me an email, I can directly send you the link for that to sign up.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks, Ellen.
Yeah, and just very quickly, the Andrus Award is something that is given out annually to a volunteer in every state, actually. But so for Illinois, the Andrus Award winner for the year, it does not have to be an AARP volunteer or whatnot. Usually it does tend to be an AARP member, but that's not even a requirement, actually. It's somebody who's doing extraordinary work in a community and giving back and volunteering and then being able to recognize that person for all these great things that they have done. And then for the Service from Home project, we have this amazing woman named Jackie Connolly who has her own program essentially that's called Mrs. Jackie Soldiers. And she essentially follows active military personnel and sends them care packages every single week. No kidding, every single week. So she's got a cadre of volunteers. And she's always looking for some assistance, of course, like on some of the things that she puts in those care packages. But one of the things that always really warms the heart, makes, those service individuals feel like there is a gift from home is when they get personalized cards and messages. So she's always looking for, those individuals, kids, all the way to much, much older adults, writing their own card or having, some sort of craft project that they can then send in these weekly, care packages. So here's two opportunities. Obviously, if you're, interested in nominating someone, and I believe actually you can nominate yourself as well. So just want to say that, but also, of course, a very specific project with veterans and more importantly, active military as well.
Good. Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
I guess I wanted to stress a little bit about the virtual events that AARP has, because the variety is incredible. There are 12 categories that you could look at, whether it's tech or, exercise, entertainment. There are so many, but with the onset of the pandemic, AARP has been extremely responsive, and the opportunities provided in those virtual events are just phenomenal. They're really, really great. And that's definitely worth checking out. So that's the link on here where it says virtual events. That is well worth checking into.
Yeah, you
And
also
for-
receive the information about movies for grown-ups and a lot of national offerings and the things that the national office tends to do, as well as our AARP Illinois specific local things. So for example, something that'll be coming up that I'm involved in is a virtual event with the Joffrey Ballet. I mean, it's, a beautiful event that you can then see free from the comfort of your home, for example, but so many different types of things, as Amy said, like there's so many categories. So it really does kind of fit whatever interest you might have. The best part is you get to, pick and choose. What are you interested in? And then connect to those things. And they're all free. There's the only charge of anything outside of membership is if someone's taking a driver safety class. That's only for the materials and whatnot. And that's by law that we had to charge for that. So, because that's an actual program that is through the General Assemblies. But outside of that, all of these events are for free.
Yeah, see all the categories on the right there. It's just awesome. It's really, really fabulous.
And I'd add one other thing. For those of us of a certain age, here's an opportunity to speak to your children and your grandchildren about the benefits of AARP, because they are welcome to be members and they can take advantage of all of those benefits on travel and cars and everything else that they think only available to old people, and it's not. I'm serious. Point it out to the kids. They will be amazed to find how many discounts they can get.
This is all through Zoom. There's another one that I want to mention, and it's One Day University, where you get actual college level lectures, and it's just fabulous. There's a live Q&A after the session. Sometimes the sessions are recorded, but there's always a live Q&A with the presenter afterwards. And I have learned so much from those, whether it's about wine or about movies or photography or history. It's just so rich. I can't stress it enough. You see, on the movies for grown-up Summer of Soul, that's a huge movie, and that's going to be tonight. So there's just a whole lot on there. You see Frog Watch on there.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Class gets out early.
Well, I'm sure somebody has something. Maybe one last question somebody's burning to ask.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Yeah. I guess you guys were so thorough that no one has any questions.
I
That's a good
find that
sign.
very, very hard to believe. And the dues are not much. I don't remember exactly how much, but it's
Yeah, the AARP membership due is $16.50 a year. If you went and chose, I'm going to do a 2-year membership or 5-year membership, lifetime membership, then obviously it's prorated. Unless, the longer of the years, it's more affordable in some ways, but yeah, $16.50. And for anybody who is a member, you'll understand this, you get a monthly magazine and every other month, like a bulletin that looks kind of like a newspaper. And I mean, I read those cover to cover. I'm in my 40s and it's relevant to me. Those articles are relevant to me at my age at this point, but I have my mom is almost 80 and it's relevant to her too. So it's amazing that those publications can reach people, with information that again is relevant to kind of all ages in a lot of ways. It's got good info, and I know a lot of people read those things cover to cover because it's got so much good information. So that's certainly one of the benefits that I hear most about that people appreciate. So think about that, $16.50 for 12 issues of a magazine and 6 issues of a bulletin. That's kind of already worth it in a lot of ways. So
and not to mention the fulfilling volunteer experiences if you're into that, or even just the virtual events alone. I mean, a movie one night, how much does a movie cost, you know? But Courtney, I want to clarify one thing. Is a membership minimum age still 50?
Yeah, so
Okay, because
technically,
she's
technically our
staff, and that's why I just want to clarify, you said you're in your 40s, but you're
Yeah.
staff, and that's why you have access.
well, so we do have an associate membership level.
okay.
So there are certain products that a younger person than 50 could still be a member, but they wouldn't get all of the benefits that a membership of 50 and older would get. Now, obviously, you're right. I'm a staff person, so I do I certainly wouldn't be eligible for some of the healthcare products because you have to be of a certain age, right? But they're, getting the magazine, for example, and some of those basic membership products and services I still am eligible for as a staff person, and somebody younger than 50 could as
Oh, that's
well.
good to know.
But 50 and older is definitely our membership age that gets full benefits. Yeah, so anyway, other questions or comments? I hope this was helpful. Again, you see on the screen our my information, my email, as well as my direct line, as well as Ellen's. So if you're looking for information about what we've shared today, or even other questions, I know that about 2 in the morning, you're going to wake up and say, I should have asked that question. So don't call me then. Don't call me or Ellen at 2, but certainly send me an email at that point. That's fine. Or certainly call me at, 8 in the morning. How's that sound? Or something like that. But we're happy to help in any way. Whether we've talked about something today or not, please reach out. We're happy to help you in any way.
Thank you all for your time.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you for
attending.
joining our session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye,
Good to
everybody.
See you.
Have a good day.
Bye now. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye, Rajiv.